Welcome to another Tech Tip Tuesday. I'm Stefanie with Archangel Education and Technology. This week, we're going to be talking about setting up your drive for the brand new school year. It is time, folks. We are heading back into the classroom. So, I've got a couple of tips for your Google Drive for how you can organize yourself effectively for a successful school year. So, let's start and take a look. My first suggestion for you are to talk about the benefits of a well organized Google Drive. Having a well organized Google Drive will allow easy access to your resources. I'm going to give you an example to show you how my Google Drive looks. Uh, this is just one way you can be organized, but I like to be super efficient. I think that it helps with the collaboration for my students as well as with my colleagues when I can easily access the information. It becomes efficient and it becomes really effective and a great use of your time. Speaking of time, let's talk about time saving. By having a structured drive, you're going to spend less time searching for your files and more time with focusing on what's important, and that's the students that are right in front of you. So when we talk about creating a folder structure, the important thing is to begin by keeping it simple. You want a folder structure that makes your drive easy to navigate. And one of the things that I'm going to be talking about is nesting and how to nest your folders. Think about those little nesting dolls. The smaller one goes inside of a bigger one, which goes inside of a bigger one, which goes inside of a bigger one. It's kind of like a funnel. And that is a great way to think about your Google Drive, is thinking about it like a funnel. So some of the suggested structures that I have for you are ideas, main folders. So this is very broad, general topics. Class materials, lesson plans, grading, professional development, personal information. Then you have those subfolders within the bigger folders. So you can organize that content within each main folder. Once we have those folders, then you talk about the subfolders. So we might have class materials. And inside of class materials, you might have handouts, assignments, resources. Under your lesson plans, you might have it organized by month or by week, or even subfolders within subfolders that identify the month and the week. And then grading, you might have assignments, and you might have tests. Under professional development, you might have workshops or conferences or weekly but monthly faculty meetings, depending on how your school is organized. And under personal, you might have like your professional licensing information or certifications from classes that you take. I like to use color coding. For me, color coding carries into my classroom as well. So for me, math is always red. So even in my Google Drive, everything that I have for math is labeled under a red folder. Same thing in my classroom. My students have a red folder, and that is their math folder. I like to use the colors to distinguish the folders visually, because a lot of people are visual learners, and it helps to use appropriate colors. I like to use for English blue. And so all of my stuff in my classroom for English is blue, as well as my folders. And I help my students do that as well. I think it's important for consistency to use the same colors consistency. It helps to avoid the confusion. And so you can, if you don't have it labeled, your Google Drive labeled by your um, subject, you can label the color coding. So, for example, blue might be class materials, green might be your lesson plans, red might be your grading. However you choose to do it, just make sure that you are consistent. So let's talk about how you can change the color for your color coding. If you right click on a folder in your Google Drive and then just go down to change color, and you can select your desired color from the list. It's also fun to use different shades of the same color for your subfolders as well. That's just a suggestion. And then you can also change the color in Google Drive. You just select the file to highlight it, click the More button, and then Manage Versions, and click the colored circle next to the file name, and then you can select the desired color from the list. So let's take an example about naming these file conventions, okay? So we want to make sure that you have a naming system, okay? Something clear, something concise, something short. For example, math, science, social studies, ELA, grading, personal information, licensing information, etc. Um, it's going to make it easy to understand. You also can do it by a suggested naming convention that I have is by the date, by the topic, and then the title and more of a description. That becomes very, very clear. So I want to look at the naming of the files and then also look at the colors. So we can take these two things that we just talked about and put it into one. So I'm going to take you to my math folder within my Google Drive. So this is my general math folder, and you can see I've got Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3. Um, if I double click that, I can go into chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. Now, I did put different colors right here for chapter 2 and chapter 3 just so I can show you how you can change the color of this file. So if we go here and we click on those, what I call the little snowman dot, it's the three little dots right there, and come down to change color. You can choose the color that you would like to change it to. So let's say I want to change it to red. This is, again, quick and easy way. So you go to the snowman, come down here to change color, choose the color that you want. And you can see that under math, I have units, and under units, I have chapters. And then if you click under chapters, I have lessons. So I've got lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. Then I've got my chapter 1 test review. These are very clear, very easy to access. And this information can be easily searched. So if I want to search something within lesson 1, I can go in and type exactly what I'm searching for. Additionally, you can come back to your naming conventions, and I'm going to go back here to my math folder, my general math folder, and I want to keep this easily accessed. Let's say that, okay, let's do even more specific. Let's say I'm in Unit 1. Let's say my class is on Chapter 2, and I want to keep this folder quickly and easily accessed. I can go Add to Starred. And then once I star that information and I come over here on the left-hand side, I can access that starred information very quickly, very easily. I just click on starred and it gives me that information. Then when I want to change it, I can remove it from the starred list, and then I can star my next chapter that I'm moving into with my students. So that's an example of nesting folders. So very general to very, very specific information, and you kind of click folder within folder within folder within folder. It really helps to keep everything very organized. When we talk about sharing files, this is a great way to collaborate effectively, not only with between students, and they can share their information with you, but also you can share project resources and files with any colleagues. So let's take a look on how to do that. So I'm going to come back here. And when I come back here, I want to go right here to my math folder. So if I go in my drive, and I'm just going to click on my math folder specifically, I click down and I go to share. Now I have this option to share my entire folder with anybody that I'd like. So I'm going to change it to anyone with the link now becomes a viewer, but maybe I want them to be able to edit, so I can just change their status. Any name that I type in here, now these are all my colleagues, I'm just going to choose a name that I can add, and Michael here has the ability to edit. and I can either allow him to view it or comment on it. He can also edit. And then let's say that we're only collaborating for chapter one, and I only want him to have access, let's say, until um, August 30th, okay, or 29th, since that's a Friday. And I want to say September 29th is a Friday, and by that time, that's when we're going to be done. So I can actually give him access to this file only until that date, which is great. If you want them to just have lasting access to it, I can delete it and then I can go back and give him access. I can type a message into him and it will send him a notification, um, and it makes it easily accessible for him. And you can come up here, and you can allow editors to change the permissions for other people as well. That's just a way that you can collaborate and you can share your information, and then just make sure that the people that you're sharing with also are understanding naming those file conventions. This is a great time also to make sure that your information in Google Drive is backed up, and also that you are keeping yourself organized and maintaining your Google Drive. So make sure that you are reviewing regularly and you declutter. Sometimes, if we make copies of things, those copies go into our folders and our drives, and then we've got, you know, three copies of the same document. So make sure you delete the extra copies, and then you can also archive previous year's materials. And so you can make a separate folder. So let's say I want to do that. Let's say that all of this information in my math folder is great, but I want to archive it. So I'm going to come over here to new, and I'm going to go to a new folder. And I'm going to type, let's say I did this at the end of the last school year. So I'm going to type 2022, 2023 school year, and that's how I'm going to name it. And then I want to create that folder. That folder I can now take and select. All I'm doing is clicking. I'm just single clicking, dragging, and dropping. Everyone who can see it will have access to it, and I'm going to go ahead and just um, move all of my information into this older file of archived information from my school year. And then I can change my access. So I can take off whoever has access to this, and I want to make it just restricted and remove anybody. And so now it's done, and you can see that the little the people that were in the little box here to show that it was shared, is now gone. So it's now a private folder. So I can archive all of that information, and now I can start a uh, new school year. This just helps you to keep your folders separate, keeps everything very clutter free. And then just make sure that you are staying consistent. Whatever the structure you choose, whether it's color coding, naming conventions, however you've established to keep your drive organized, you stay consistent with it. Please know that if you have any questions or you need any help, you can always contact me. You can ask me for some help. We can jump on a a quick Zoom meeting or a Google Meet together, and we can talk about it, and we can make the collaboration more efficient and improved for your teaching experience. I hope this tip has helped you, and I hope you have a beautiful and successful start to your school year. Take care.